Hey, my friend, welcome. You're listening to the free Yoga Reset tutorial. My name is Ethan Hill. If you're stumbling onto this via YouTube, I highly recommend you actually check out my website, linked in the description below. There's going to give you the context and the background to understanding what's going on, which is to say, understanding how and why we are able to reset our nervous system, balance our mind, recharge our depleted energy resources with a really finite amount of time. Otherwise, if you're with me, what we're doing in this particular nervous system tip is learning how to turn off the body at will using a practice I call battery saver mode. If you just listened to the previous video on blowing bubbles, this is the exact opposite. Okay, so our first rule is really to determine whether we're in a peak or in a valley at any one particular moment, especially before a yoga class. And then from there, intelligently designing our own practice to lead us back to baseline. If you are in a valley, you work on the inhale and maintaining a larger and larger frame. This is what blowing bubbles was all about. If, however, you are on a peak, well then it doesn't make sense to just continuously energize yourself. We're trying to do the opposite. You're going to maintain the breath at the bottom. Try this with me. Inhale. Exhale everything out. Like squeeze all of the air out of your lungs by flexing your abs, squeezing your ribcage in, collapsing down. No air, no air, no air until it's uncomfortable. And then another breath in. Okay, release. That big squeeze, that air all the way out, is actually not what we want. And you know why? Because it's so freaking uncomfortable. Right? When you squeezed everything out, you are just dying for another breath. That's not what we want. Instead, with the exhale and holding the exhale, using the battery saver mode methodology, more or less, your job is to go down to a resting exhale volume. All right, let me teach you what resting exhale more or less means. Close your eyes, sit upright, and allow your body to breathe naturally while watching it. If you don't know how to breathe naturally, just back up in your mind. Feel as though you're watching your breath from 10 yards away. No manipulation. Okay, while letting this still take place, can you notice that the inhale and the exhale are almost like a wave, like a sinusoidal wave? The inhale, it rises. The exhale, it falls. Well, the top of that inhale, the natural one, is what's called your resting inhale volume. And the bottom of that wave is called your resting exhale volume. So when we are focusing in our yoga reset class around battery saver mode, you will just naturally drop down to that exhale. And rather than letting the wave rise back up, you'll just maintain it. You'll kind of sit at the bottom of the pool for as long as it feels comfortable. Try that with me here, where we're going to go into a forward fold. So just stand up, stretch out if you got to, and then bend over at the waist, dropping your head like an anchor. Use your feet as strong points. And now, take one breath in, and exhale to a very comfortable release, where you feel like you're just kind of floating there. And you're just going to hold this breath and allow your muscles to start to turn off. If you gotta breathe, no worries, but just come right back down to where you were. Continue to turn off unnecessary functions in your body. All right, come back up. This is a skill that you get better and better at, which is to say, the more you practice, the more you're able to turn off your body at will using this resting exhale or battery saver mode method. The brief science of how it works, and I've got more information on my Deeper, Slower, Easier series, But the long and short of it is when less resources are coming into your body, aka oxygen and prana and food and so forth, your body has no choice but to intelligently turn off certain systems that are using too much fuel. So for instance, if you're holding your breath underwater, it doesn't make sense for your hands to be gripping in fists because that requires energy. Same thing with your shoulders, your neck, your jaw, all of these tense points in your body that exist. They are unnecessary functions, and when you breathe less, suddenly they've got no choice but to turn off and go into battery saver mode. And amazingly, this also happens with your mind. Okay, a lot of blood flow and a lot of energy requires to keep that thinking mind up in your prefrontal cortex. So over time, you do this enough, and your thoughts will start to slow down and quiet altogether. And that's because energy isn't being sent to the front of the brain anymore. Anyways, I hope you'll actually purchase a class pack and practice these essential exercises with me. But in the meantime, go ahead and head to the next page wherein you'll learn what's called claiming. I'll see you there.